Walmart came out today and said they're not going to sell anything else that's got a Confederate flag on it.
Were they selling them before?
Evidently, they're probably not selling a lot in New York.
Yeah,
but
I bet they had them in Walmart, Mississippi.
They had them in Mississippi, and so they're saying they're not going to carry
Good
that
for
anymore.
Walmart.
So now, does that mean that other retailers will come out and do the same thing? See, the corporations can drive some of this stuff, and I think the corporations are starting to realize that they've got more power than even they really do.
Yeah.
Leave your highfalutin intellect at the door. It's time for Carl and Mike.
Welcome to Carl and Mike. I'm Carl.
Mike.
You sound like a little kid there.
Huh? Well, I never liked Mike.
Yeah, so you call it Mike, but you always go by Michael.
I always go
normally.
by Michael, yeah.
But Carl and Michael doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't. It's
So
you got to Carl, Mike. That's right. You had to shorten it.
Yeah, so we're coming to you now that you've got that bit of trivia out of the way. Not even trivia, really. It's a morsel of...
It's really useless information.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Broadcasting live in Dallas, Texas from the Corner Bakery Cafe in the corner booth.
At the corner of Preston and Forest. Yeah.
So there we are, 3 corners.
Corner.
And so how's it going?
It's going good. I got no real big complaints.
How
about
I've
yourself?
had a tough week. I've had a tough
Yeah?
week. We're going back and forth of putting our dog Sarah down. We were going to do it
Yeah.
on Saturday, and then we had a vet come in, and the vet was encouraging. So we haven't done it. Problem is her hips. She had a hip
Yeah.
thing, and so every time she tries to go potty, her hip falls down.
Oh.
But everything else is fine. And I don't know. I'm torn. I go back and forth. People say, "Oh, you'll know." They'll tell you. I'm not getting that. I don't know if that's true.
Well,
Or that's an old wives' tale.
You haven't gotten there yet.
Is that what that means?
I mean, everybody gets there eventually.
Right.
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 It's one of those kind of things. I think it's the same thing when you have a parent that has got a really awful illness. You do everything you can. It's like when Dad had Parkinson's. You do everything you can. My mom was absolute fucking heroic with keeping him at home and taking care of him and everything. Yes, and it just got worse and worse and worse, and it was a very loving, giving thing to do. I think, and but then it towards the end, he just gets worse and worse, and falling down, and it starts to wear more on him and more on Mom, and you just go, yeah, that's when you know.
Yeah, but you see, with a parent, it's different than an animal because you don't have the option to put them down, or they don't have the option. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we do that for our pets.
No, but it's a matter of knowing when you're ready for that to happen.
Right.
The mechanism by which it happens. Yeah, you're right. We can't do.
Do you think we should have that option?
What's that?
For someone to say, okay, I've had enough.
Yeah, absolutely. That's their choice. That's your choice. That's my choice to make. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the state.
What about when they're in a situation where they don't have the consciousness to make the choice?
Then somebody that knows them the best can make that decision for them. Otherwise, they just sit there and flounder until nature takes its course.
Wondering is, why do we have a different? Is it because it's a dog? It's an animal. We consider it. In other words, everybody's fine with putting an animal down. I mean,
well, it's the same reason that they're killing tens of thousands of dogs right now in China for some sort of dog meat week or whatever it is. Have you heard about that?
No, I don't know if I want to hear about that.
Oh yeah,
right now.
Yeah, it's just awful. It's awful. But yeah, it just there's a different standard for because we humans are the superior animal, Carl. Did you not realize that we are superior?
So we need to suffer longer.
Huh?
So we need to suffer longer.
Well, that's a good point. If we're superior, you would think that no, we're just superior, and because we're superior, we're more valuable, I guess, as a life form.
Yeah.
Which is horse shit, but anyway.
So anyway, I'm struggling with what's the right thing to do. I really wish I had more clarity.
Yeah.
Part of me, Sarah's only 8 years old. She's like the vet said, she's got great muscle tone. Her blood tests were great. Everything's great. Except,
So what's the deal with the hip? Is it broken or is it slipped out? Or
well, it supposedly dislocated from a chiropractor. We had a chiropractor say it dislocated.
yeah,
She's coming back today to look at it. I've had another vet tell me, when this thing happens, it never comes back, and then this vet was kind of saying, let's get her to lose some weight here. She's really strong otherwise, and we can possibly turn this around. So I'm getting semi-conflicting messages. So I don't know what to do. So
well, you're doing what you
it's
want.
it's like when she's up, when she's having a good day, everything's good, and when she's having a bad day, we're all kind of like freaked out. Not freaked out, but
Yeah,
stressed out.
yeah.
Tough. We don't have kids, so dogs, and Suzanne has really been tough on her. So let's talk a little bit about.
You know, do some presidential update. We'll do a little bit anyway.
All right, you got a little presidential
Yeah,
update?
getting back to these 501Cs, it turns out there's a bunch of 501Cs. There's a 501C3 and 5s. The 4s and 6s are the ones you want to pay attention to because they're the ones that somehow seem to have a little bit of a thing where
So before you get there's different classifications of 501Cs, and 501Cs are nonprofits where people can send their money, and then they don't have to be reported who they are.
Oh, and they save money on their taxes by making these donations.
Even though they're anonymous.
Yes. And
so they can. And then there's different classes than a 501c.
Yeah, and the 4s and 6s are the ones that are kind of worded and geared towards being able to make donations to political campaigns. And it's not so much making donations to political campaigns, although there's probably some of that, but as it is kind of running a shadow campaign or a shadow marketing thing right beside them. So it's something that's mirroring what the candidates want that they want to support. But they're just supporting it as an institution, Carl. They're not really supporting that particular candidate. It may be that the verbiage is similar, or they use the same copywriter, or goddamn writers.
It's just
Damn you people.
Campaign finance reform. Can we?
Yeah.
We can't seem to get that through.
Oh, we are reforming it. We're allowing more money to flow in.
The change is happening.
Yes,
is going the opposite direction of what supposedly everybody wants.
Yes, because we needed to reform it because money was being choked out. We weren't able to get enough money in.
Now we're getting more.
Now we're getting more. So that's a type of reform. If you're on the other side, that's reform, right?
Yes. That's sad. So not only are we not getting campaign finance reform the way most Americans would want it, it's actually going the opposite direction. So any changes that actually happening.
Yeah, try and get
Citizen United was a sweet little gift, wasn't it?
Try and get. Oh my God, try and get that to change now that there's so much money in it, that so many people making so much. That try and change that now. That's like trying to take money out of people's pockets, and it's the lobbyists. I mean, the lobbyists are one of the biggest problems that we have. Period. And the lobbyists, this is like a godsend to them.
So you're not very hopeful that anything's going to change on that?
No.
As we go along.
No.
Okay. Well.
I would love to.
It would require a candidate of vision and foresight. But even them, they would have to get the Congress to go along.
It would take thought leadership, Carl.
It would take thought leadership?
It would take thought leadership.
I just read the responses to the Charleston shooting. At the church there where 9 black African Americans were killed, and and there were some exceptions. I'll give Jeb Bush credit on a little bit on saying this Confederacy flag needs to go and what that represents. But,
and Nikki Haley, with everybody standing.
Give her credit.
She stood up.
So I heard the other candidates talk about the flag, the Confederate flag. You would think, and it was always, well, the president's not going to make that decision. That's the state's decision. They always go.
Yeah.
That's the default
yeah,
position.
that's the default. Yeah, well, that's what Haley Barber was saying. He's a big Mississippi guy. He goes, well, in that heavy Mississippi drawl, well, I think it needs to be the state's decision to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's up for South Carolina to decide.
Yeah, it's up for
I'm not going to condemn it.
No.
Because it's not my point. It's not
No,
my place.
No, so
I'm
it's not my
running for
place.
president, and president
Yes.
has no power over that.
So it's my place to take care of Mississippi. Mississippi.
I tell you.
And let North Carolina take care of themselves.
So you really don't realize. Somebody was saying this Charleston thing was right in the, a few blocks from the Confederate Museum. The street it's on is named Calhoun, which is.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, you go. Well, you get into the South like that, you're going to find all kinds of shit like that. The streets are named after Robert E. Lee Street, or, it's going to. You're going to have all that.
I don't. Yes, I do. I think the Confederate flag flying at the State House is crazy.
Yeah. Walmart came out today and said they're not going to sell anything else that's got a Confederate flag on it.
Were they selling them before?
Evidently. They're probably not selling a lot in New York.
Yeah.
But,
I bet they had them in Walmart.
Yeah, they had them in Mississippi, and so they're saying they're not going to carry
Good
that
for
anymore.
Walmart.
So now, does that mean that other retailers will come out and do the same thing? See, the corporations can drive some of this stuff, and I think the corporations are starting to realize that they've got more power than even they really do.
Yeah.
So they can start to drive that kind of thing.
And some people say, well, it's just a symbol, but it has symbols have power.
Oh, swastikas,
Yeah.
huge power.
Yeah.
A cross has got huge power.
Yeah.
Star of David, huge power. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's got.
So it is
symbols have power.
significant. And I hope they take it down, and it belongs in a museum,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
It's part of a past, and it was a past that was for slavery.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, 150 years later, when I hear, Fox News,
What were they doing?
well, this guy was a white supremacist. I mean, just shooter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No doubt about it. He had a manifesto, for
Oh, yeah.
God's sakes, and he had, he was a white supremacist, They're totally glossing over that. It's all about he's just mentally ill.
What is a manifesto?
What is a manifesto? It's
Yeah,
like a
what is it?
declaration of beliefs.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. So he had a manifesto, and this guy was.
Do we need a Carl and Mike manifesto? Or is it evolving? It's a moving target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he, they're glossing that over. I realized it.
And at 21 years old, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Plus, he had a bad haircut. Bad haircut. I mean, come on.
Always the bad side.
Yeah, at least it's
How
not a
come
mullet,
they always
but it's
do
chili balls.
kind of
same
serial
thing.
killers and stuff really don't have good haircuts?
I don't know.
There's always a little weirdness around
Yeah.
their hair.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is there, but it's bad
They're
hair.
just not taking care of themselves?
No, it's
Poor
it's,
grooming habits?
No, it's like, I don't know, chili bowls and mullets and stuff like that. That's cracker hairdo, And I don't know what the deal is. It's a way of showing wearing something that's part of the crowd. It's a way of belonging.
Yeah.
So you have a bad haircut and you belong to the crazies. I don't know. Fuck, I don't know. But it's a bad haircut. But anyway, I mean, at 21 years old, the kid just goes off.
But he
Yeah.
didn't go off. He'd been planning that. This is not.
Well, that's true. His friends did.
His
hear
roommate
it.
knew.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So-
where's the public shaming for the roommate?
I would. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. You need, but what do you do with something like that? I mean, if all of a sudden you went off and I was sitting here listening to you and I was going, God, I can't believe he's saying this.
Right.
I would have to weigh that and think, is he serious? And do I need to report this to somebody? And who do I report
I think
it to?
if you started to tell me that, well, it would be hard. You're right, because it's a friend, so that's always difficult to judge. But if you were saying that you're on to shoot somebody, or
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
That when it gets down to that, I think really you need to say something to people, folks.
right. But I can understand how that might be hard. Because how serious do you take the friend? But if you've got a friend that's saying he wants to kill people,
And if it's
you
all of a
might
sudden,
wanna-
if it's different from the way that person is, if you've known them from a long time, and all of a sudden they do that kind of a 180 flip like that,
all right,
it
but
would
so
be-
let me give you here's an example. You have
Okay.
that one friend that's kind of right wing that you talk to all the time. You know, if all of a sudden he starts saying, you know, Obama's coming and I'm going to start I'm going to start shooting people. Would
I
you
don't
go?
know. That's a real good question. I don't know the answer to that. I would like. I would probably go. Talk to him and say, you are kidding, aren't you?
And so if he said no,
But see, I think a lot of the people, they don't do that. I think he did that just because he was young and stupid,
Right.
and trying to show off. And maybe he wanted something to be left when it was all over with. And what he's got left are these websites and his statement and his manifesto, and that's what he leaves, plus this legacy of death, which is just frightening. But I think the way South Carolina and Charleston has handled this, and the way the community over there has handled this, is nothing short of incredible.
I have to say I
absolutely
was
incredible.
really blown away about the level of forgiveness that was shown
Yes.
to that guy.
Yeah, and I
by
thought-
the-
did you think
I don't
about
know. I
that?
think that couldn't.
You
I could get to forgiveness, but not in a day
yeah.
or two. I just thought that was incredible. Really.
Yeah, that really speaks to
Content of the character of those
yeah,
people.
the character of the people and their faith, being in
Yeah.
tune with that, because I don't know that I could either. That's just it. I don't know how I would react
Within
on something
48,
like that. I would
96
be
hours,
just-
I don't think I could. 48
but there
hours?
wasn't rioting in the streets.
No.
My hat's off to him. I tell you.
And I have to say, Obama, he took a lot of flack for it, but he's right. If we're an advanced country, this shit can't keep happening. And I do believe America thinks of itself as an advanced country, but lately, I don't know, man. I don't know so much. I used to think for a long, long time, thought America was the brightest, the best place where people come.
Well,
because it's the freedom that we have.
That's the copy. That's what's been pushed and promoted. That's how we're promoted and how we present ourselves. But it's not. We don't have the best education system. We don't have the best
And I think it's
medical
starting
system.
to catch up to
and we've
us.
got
I do
it's
think
gonna
we
come to
were.
roost.
I do think we were that. Do you not think we never were that, or that was just copy always?
No, I think there probably was a period where it was that way, and I think it may have been after World War II, where we were like,
Right.
strutting around. We helped
saved Germany,
we
right.
saved
We
saved
saved, not
Europe,
Germany,
and
we
saved
saved
the
Europe.
East. Our
Right.
coming in did all this kind of stuff.
Even in
so
the
we
60s
had
and
we
stuff.
were, and rightfully so. I guess we were very proud of what it had done. But then, over the years, we think that we can, we did it there. We can certainly do it in that little country in Southeast Asia, Vietnam. We can certainly fix that. Well, we didn't.
Right.
And we lost, 50 some odd thousand lives, and all kinds of people are still dealing with psychological problems and Agent Orange problems.
But there's something more to this. I mean, if you look at like the game show, I know this sounds stupid, but if you look at the game shows of the 50s and stuff, the questions were really a lot more advanced than they are now. It seems there's a dumbing down across the board, it seems,
Yeah.
in America. And then this right-left split, which, it's not even really a right-left split, at least the way it was before, because the previous right-left split was around government, size of government, okay? And I don't have a problem disagreeing with somebody on that level, and we can talk about it, and I can say, well, this has been proven to this, and they'll argue this and that. But it's the Fox News right
Yeah.
and the hate radio right
Yeah.
that kind of came in, and now it wasn't just about the size of government and a political intellectual conversation. It became this really ugly thing.
It's hate and distrust of the other, and these entities are defining who and what the other is.
Right.
And
But I'm saying, I don't think the left went super left. I mean,
No.
there's an element,
no,
right?
No.
But it's this ugliness that's come from.
if the left had gone super left, we would have a period where the government was paying everybody a salary, and we had government
right.
stores where we bought shit. And,
We've
you
never
know,
even
that-
come
no,
close to anything like that.
No.
So it's this ugliness that's surfaced, and then I do think an uneducated population is needed for that to live. Does that make sense?
Yes. It's fertile ground for
It's
that.
fertile ground for that.
Yes.
An uneducated populace, which I think, and I'll blame our school system, and I'm not a teachers union fan on that. And there's failed government policies, that were in place
Yeah.
that created some of that. But man,
See, now that's interesting. You grew up in a part of the country that was mainly unions. And see,
Right.
I grew up in a part of the country that was mainly non-unions. So I grew up hearing, no union, no union, no union. And you grew up in an area where a lot of people were members of unions. Their parents were members of unions. But I agree with you on the teachers union. Anything that,
well, I think the union is a pendulum that swings back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, what were unions created, right? Kids were standing in knee-deep water in an industrial age.
yeah,
And nobody was protecting them.
right. And
So,
that,
a union
that's-
was needed. And if you abuse workers, you're going to create unions.
and to
Okay?
create better working conditions in coal mines and stuff like
Right,
that. So
right,
that all that was really good.
Right.
It kind of got out of control. It's like a lot of the pensions that got, people would, it's like Nita's dad. He would fly for American for 30 some odd years, and when he retired, he was making like, 80, 90% of what I forget what it was. It was a huge percentage of it.
Right.
So
And
all
a
of a
company
sudden, all of a
couldn't
sudden-
run
No, you can't run a company
business
like
paying
that. No.
people that don't work for you anymore.
No, because then you would have to hire somebody to replace him because you got to have somebody to do
So
what he was
that's
doing.
a
and
guaranteed
then you,
setup for failure.
Yeah, and so
So
you,
unions, negotiated that, but they negotiated something that was untenable.
yes.
So that was poor. That was poor leadership on the union part.
No, it was poor leadership. It was poor leadership on the corporation's part, but it was poor leadership on the union's part. There was
Poor
some sort of,
leadership on the union's part for asking for that because that wasn't going to happen. You can't run a business that way, right?
yeah, but it took how many years for it to peter out? Probably 50 years. So in the interim, there are these guys that were retiring with just huge amounts of money, but that's gone. That will never return. Yet I think there are some places like the federal government that still pays pensions.
Yeah. Yes. there
And
are.
government entities that still do
And
that. So it's
Congress,
still
I'll get really nice
Congress,
pensions.
Yeah. God, Jesus. Yeah, and
I'm ready for there to be a law. Congress can pass no law that they don't live by.
yes,
It's very simple.
yes,
Pension law, then everybody gets it.
yeah,
You get it, everybody gets it.
yeah.
End of story. Fixed. See how easy it is
Healthcare,
to fix things?
you get the same thing everybody else gets.
That's right. Why? That would be such
No
a
better,
simple
no
fix.
worse. Wouldn't it? Would that be
Why is it-
fair? That would be fair, wouldn't it?
That would be fair? Yes.
Yes.
And it'll give them in touch with the people that they represent because,
The little people, Carl?
little
The
people.
little people like us?
yes, because then they are going to live by their own rules.
Oh, that ain't gonna happen.
Michael. No
No,
campaign finance
no,
report?
no.
No simple
No.
living by your own rules?
Uh-uh.
You're a little pessimistic today.
No, I think well,
Realistic?
You could yes, you could call me. Some people call me pessimistic. Some people call me.
Just
Realistic.
obviously realistic, yeah. I don't know if I have hope around it either, Michael, so I can't play the other side.
Yeah,
But that's how it should be. How come it's so hard to get what should be obvious to everybody? Then why doesn't it
because
happen?
they're interested protecting their turf, which
who's
usually involves
protecting-
money.
So Congress is protecting their own turf in that case.
Sure, they want to keep their sweet little
But
medical
isn't
programs
like
or whatever.
I think I read somewhere that now the average congressman is a millionaire coming into Congress.
Coming in,
Yeah, aren't they like
Probably.
for the majority? Their income is way higher.
well, and
So
we're
even
gonna,
what do you get paid? What does the congressman get paid these days?
I don't know. Yeah, 100, no,
100 something.
180. I don't know. It's
So,
under 200,
yeah.
I think.
So, the average congressman, if their average worth is $1 million coming in, 180.
Yeah.
Really, the big money in Congress is after you get out of Congress.
Oh, absolutely. What you're doing is you want to do that job and get in the right positions and on the right committees to make you desirable for Wall Street or the lobbying firms.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, more depressed.
Yeah.
So the solution to this for the American people, it seems like we're getting a lot of social media shining lights on this. Well, maybe not. I don't know. People are as aware. I guess your social media feed is as good as you are.
Yeah, exactly.
And as good as your friends are.
Well, yeah, your social media reflects your thought. That's part of the problem, and they're echo chambers.
Well,
I
yes
mean,
and no.
are you going to be a member of a social media that's saying shit you don't want to listen to? No.
No. Yes. You're right. Well, I can't say totally right, but yes, for the most part.
You may dip your toes in that pool like I do when I go to Fox just to see what they're talking about. You know,
Right.
at the top of the hour, I want to see what they're leading with, but I don't stay there
You
unless it's something just really absurd, and I'll go, start throwing popcorn at the screen or something. I think a lot of what the social media and the cable, what they do is they give people what they want or more of what they believe. They don't give them less of what they believe. You're not going to find some,
right.
people living in Highland Park that are going to watch, some trailer trash stuff, except for just to make fun of it. They're going to want to see.
Everybody wants to see who they are.
Everybody wants to see themselves reflected. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
You were looking for copy, weren't you?
There you go. Yeah. Is not the screen
A mirror.
Yeah. Thought leadership. No, I'm serious.
The screen is a mirror.
Is it not? If you think about the stuff that you sit in front of and it parrots back at you, isn't that a mirror of your beliefs or a mirror of your values?
So you
or
don't
a
think you
mirror
get any
of your-
growth? Like how about watching a show that is smarter than you are, or is
Oh, I think,
and
yeah, but you
shines
have
light.
to make the decision to put it on that show for some reason, and you have to make a decision to watch that show as opposed to the Catfish Noodling or the Duck Dynasty people or Honey Boo Boo. And the people that are watching Honey Boo Boo and Duck Dynasty and Catfish
So
Noodling.
the
and
chasm is going wider, is what you're
Yeah.
saying, because they're in this echo chamber
Yeah.
of their own stupidity or their own enlightenment, depending on what they're into.
Yeah. And it's entertainment or numbness. I saw something the other day that was just incredible. It was photographs taken of kids watching TV.
Okay.
Okay? Their face. They look fucking numb. They look like zombies.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
These are photos of kids watching
Yes.
TV.
Yes. And I see that with Simon, and he's 3.5. If he's watching something, you can talk to him, and he will not register the fact that he's hearing you. You have to literally stand in front of him
You have to
and
the
block his
concentration.
view. And then there's this, whoa, no, don't do that, don't do that. And I would say that's with the 3.5-year-old. I'll have to say that I'm that way too. If I'm sitting there watching something, and Nita will tell you this, and she starts talking to me, she has to repeat it once
Right.
to pull me out of that lock-in. Are you not that way?
Yeah.
I think everybody's that way. So I think I'm saying it's a mirror.
But there's an interesting thing, because there's more than one mirror here. Because I always hear it about TV.
Yeah.
But you don't hear it about your phone screen or your computer screen. What's the difference between
No, I think
aren't
what
they
you
just different screens?
what you surf. Yeah.
If
No,
you're
it's
if you're
what you
on your
surf.
phone watching stuff,
Yeah, no,
why
what-
is that?
But
Why is that different?
what?
If you're watching something on a phone versus watching something on a computer versus watching something on TV.
Well, on TV, you just plug in.
At the end of
you
the day,
sit
you're
back.
in front of the screen. And then what do you do for entertainment? You go to the movies.
No.
And you're in front of
Well,
a bigger screen.
It's the way you interact with the TV is a remote. So you make a decision to watch a show, put the remote down, and do. But when you're interacting with the screen or your phone, you're constantly pushing buttons or scrolling right or scrolling left or scrolling up or scrolling down. And so there's a constant physical interaction with it. And working with your phone, and I'm just winging this as I go, but working with a phone and I'm just thinking about myself, the way I interact with the phone or a pad or a computer, it's quick hits with something. I'll look at a website and I'm reading down in an article and it's got some highlighted text in there that I find interesting about what the story is, and I click on that and boom, I'm off on something else. You can't do that with TV yet.
See, I think it's just we just go from one screen to another. We go from our phone.
Oh, we do.
Really, if you look at it, we're living in screens. In our car, we got a little windshield. That's a little screen.
Yeah.
A little view. On our phone,
but
we go to the phone, we go to the computer, then we work all day, then we come home, we watch TV.
Well,
then when it's Saturday night, we go to a movie, which is just another screen.
Yeah, but with the I guess what I'm saying, when you go to
You're
a
saying
movie
there's
more
what's different between a
interaction,
movie or
it's more-
TV? It's just a bigger
the
screen.
screens are tactile because you're moving.
I'm talking
your
about a
fingers
movie.
and stuff.
You go to a
Okay, you're
movie.
using your ears, you're using your eyes.
At a
Okay,
movie.
At a movie.
Yeah.
TV, ears, and eyes.
Yeah.
Screens, ears, eyes, hands,
And the fingers
touch.
change.
Oh, I think
something?
that all of a sudden you're dancing around. Yeah.
So it's
your dancing.
It's a different aspect of.
Yeah, that allows you to change and move around stuff. I mean, the movie is different from TV because you go in there, you lock into it.
Right.
You don't have a remote, but you also don't have commercials. You can't move around. You commit to that for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is. TV, you commit to it for 30 minutes or an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. But when you have, there's distractions on those.
That's an interesting. I was just looking
Yeah,
at
I don't know.
Screens.
Oh, technologically, yes, they're different screens, but I think the
We
way
just
we
move from
interact
screen to
with
screen.
them, the way we interact with them is different.
Okay.
You know, because you interact with Twitter differently than you interact with visuals from a website.
Yes,
You read
that's
the
true.
text. You interact with that more like you do a book,
Right.
or pull quotes from an article. It's not even a full article.
And of course, these
short
days, I don't
clips.
know, even it takes a lot for me. I found the computers, I on my little iPad while I'm watching TV these days.
Oh, we keep it there too because we're constantly going, what other show is that person in?
And here's a phenomenon. Have you experienced this? Because I've been experiencing this since I've started now having my iPad on, right? Mm-hmm. So there's some television show that's coming up to some climatic scene, a very, interesting key points, you know. And I'm being distracted by, kittens on the iPad or something, some kind of mundane thing. You ever find yourself doing this? You go, why am I paying attention to this thing, which is
Because it's right there.
It's
in your lap or
nothing,
it's right there.
Whereas the
Yeah.
TV,
Yeah.
in this particular case,
Yeah.
it could be a sports thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so was the finals. I was watching NBA finals. Okay, so it was a close game. Could go either way, and I should have been paying attention to that.
Yeah.
But then the things that I'm paying attention to on the iPad are pretty freaking
Well,
trivial.
I saw something the other day
know?
on an ad, or it was during a show. I can't remember. And it was the first time I'd seen this, and I've got AT&T Universe. It was talking about, let's say it was an ad, and it said, if you want to know more, press information on your clicker,
Really?
your remote. Yeah, it's the first time I'd ever seen that. So all of a sudden, it's
Interacting.
it's starting to make itself more interactive. Yes, and it could be that what we're doing with the pad right now, where we pick up the pad and go, who is that guy that's in that show?
Right.
So we look up the show, and then we look up the cast of characters, and then we say, oh, there he is. That's where we saw him, was in this other show. But
Right.
at some point, you're going to be able to use your clicker. Again, this is thought leadership.
Right.
Your clicker, and you're going to point to it, You're going to point to that guy with a laser deal. It's going to be on his head. You're going to hit more info, and it's going to stop the show, or it's going to have an overscreen that talks about who that character is and who that actor is and what else he's been into. Why wouldn't that happen?
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
I was just still trying to figure out why my little mundane Facebook feed is more interesting than a tied ball game in the NBA Finals.
Because that's more that you're just well, that's more.
Have you seen?
It's
in other
more
words, have
you.
you
It's
seen,
more a
have you-
part of you. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't. I mean, you like to watch sports, but you don't consider yourself a tight end. And
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? But you do. Your friends are on the Facebook site. You're
Yeah.
trying to keep up with them. You're not trying to keep up with the.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, as your Facebook feed is in all friends, don't you get a lot of these newsy type of things or whatever? in
No.
your Facebook feed?
It's just
all
mostly.
friends?
Yeah, it's most friends. I don't do any.
You don't
and I
get a little
get on-
like those little articles from.
Well,
I
if
couldn't
friends
believe
post it.
when he clicked on this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
No,
it comes
yeah.
from a friend, but it's
Yeah,
an article that
yeah,
they're sharing.
Yeah.
I find Facebook feed very addictive compared to television.
Yeah. In fact, a friend of mine posted something, and it was on the site. It was great. It was Gandhi takes a yoga class. It was a video, and so it was this, yoga class,
Right.
and Gandhi comes through the door and introduces himself and sits down. They don't have a clue who he is.
Right.
Right. And she's trying to tell him how to do stuff, and he goes, "Oh, I've been doing yoga for quite some time," and she's using the English words like up dog, and he's using the regular yoga terms, and she goes, "Oh, don't worry, you'll learn the terms soon enough." It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And he gets real frustrated, and some kid turns around on the mat and says, "Just breathe, Gandhi, just breathe," and he goes, "You little," and Gandhi starts to go, "You little fucker," and he catches himself and leaves.
That's a good example. You're in a yoga.
Yeah.
You like
Yeah,
Gandhi.
exactly,
It's like
exactly.
perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect content from Michael Morris.
Yes.
And that's why we love our Facebook.
We ought to post that video.
Yes, we'll post that on our Facebook page.
Yes.
Which is, if you search Carl and Mike on
That's
Facebook,
right.
you'll find us. Pretty much you'll find us anywhere if you search Carl and Mike. So do so. Check out our video podcast, 5 Questions in 5 Minutes with Carl and Mike, on iTunes as well as we're everywhere.
Yes.
We're everywhere you want to
Yes. And I have it's time for what a dick.
be. Oh, we forgot our What a Dick
Yeah, but
segment.
we can do
Yes.
that now.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know everybody wants to hear who we think,
So
has been.
this week's What a Dick goes to?
I'm gonna have to go with Apple, and I thought I would never do that because
Wow.
what they're starting their new music thing,
Yes.
and
Beats
yeah,
or
and
iTunes
they weren't
Music.
going to pay. It was going to be, I think, free
Apple
for
Music.
everybody. Yeah, it was
Yes,
going to be
Apple
free
Music.
for 3 months.
Yes.
But during those 3 months, they were not going to pay royalties to the
any
musicians.
artist. None of them. Zip.
So Taylor Swift sent out a little Tumblr thing or tweet or something like that saying how disappointed she was in Apple because she had always thought of Apple as this progressive company, and she really loved their products.
Right.
Apple did a complete U-turn.
Well, you see, now, so they're not a dick.
Huh?
You're saying they're a dick because of the initial.
Yeah. The only reason they're not a dick is because Taylor Swift stood up and took a stand on and said, "I'm not putting my music on here, and here's why." And for that, she gets an atta girl. But that's power. When somebody
Yes.
like Taylor Swift can stand up to Apple, was that the biggest corporation in the world?
That is the biggest
Yeah,
corporation.
and they also have all this money that's just sitting there in the bank, and they're saying they're not going to
$194 billion last
they're not
I
going
looked.
to pay musicians for 3 months.
All that money's overseas, Michael.
Well, then they can write checks in euros or whatever, But I think that they're going to change it now. And Taylor, thank you, sweetie. That's
all
good.
the independent
well,
artists
and
out
every
there.
musician alive
Those are one.
owes her one.
All right. On that, we will call it. What a dick, Apple.
Yeah,
But
but
good
they're
job
okay. Yeah,
turning
but
their-
yeah, good changing. Yeah.
so they changed from a dick.
They
See, I
changed
think
it.
what a dick should be for people that aren't going to change. Ted Cruz, we've had Donald Trump. So my nomination for What a Dick would be Fox and Friends.
Oh yeah.
What a dick this week for their way they covered Charleston shootings.
Did it surprise you?
No, but it's
Yeah.
especially dickish. Okay, it's especially dickish.
So entities can become dick.
Well,
be
Fox
dicks
and Friends
too.
is
Yeah.
a group of 5 idiots.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So they're going to get my vote for
So
What
it's
a
a
Dick
collection
this
of
week.
dicks.
Yeah, it's a dick fest.
It's a dick pack.
It's a sausage fest. There. No, because there's a woman there too, but she's a
Oh.
dick too.
Yeah, you can be.
You be a dick and a woman.
Yeah.
So Fox and Friends is my vote.
All right, sounds good. We got them both. All right.
All right, everybody, have a great one. We'll see you next time on Carl and Mike. Check us out everywhere at Carl and Mike.
Yep.
Peace.
Out.